Would you like to get completely shredded, even have ripped six-pack abs? In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 steps that I guarantee you, if you do that, you will get there. And these are the 3 things that I wish I knew when I was starting out, before I became a fitness coach. And I've been a fitness coach for the last 16 years, and I've helped and served 1,200 clients, many of which have come to that level of being completely shredded and have six-pack abs. And number 3 is the most important. So please stay to the end, watch this video, and number 3 is going to change it all for you, I guarantee you. Before we go into what are the 3 steps, let's first talk about the elephant in the room, the one major thing that everybody has in their mind, or a lot of people do, which is, can I even have six-pack abs? Can I even get that lean? The reason, at first, the answer is you absolutely can. There's 0 reasons out there, physical, emotional, any other reasons that you can't get there. You absolutely can. But the reason a lot of people don't believe that, maybe you don't even believe that you can, is because it's really hard to believe something that we've never done before. If you've never had $1 million before, it's really hard to believe that you can. But if you have that faith and you keep going, that's how everybody who's self-made became, a multimillionaire. That's how everybody I was a fat kid. When I was a fat kid, if somebody told me I'm gonna have this physique, I'd be like, nah, I'm not really sure. I wish I just get, looking decent and be in good shape. I didn't believe that I could actually be shredded, but I kept going. And this is the number 1 thing that I want to share is, many of my clients don't believe, probably vast majority of my 1,200 transformed clients so far didn't believe that they could actually get in top shape. They all did. But how does that work? It's literally like you're walking through a fog, you can't see anything, but you can see 2 steps ahead. Take the 2 steps and then you see another 2. Take another 2 and then you see another 2. And keep going, and that's how, let's say you have 50 pounds to lose. And you're like, I just want to be in good shape. I don't even think about having six-pack abs. I just want to not have the gut. I get that. And let's say you have 50 pounds to lose and you lose the first 10. And then you stop and say, wait, but if I lost the 10 pounds and I was able to do that, what happens if I just keep going and do that 4 more times? That's exactly it. You lose 50 pounds and get shredded and have six-pack abs and look, like a Marvel superhero. This is absolutely possible. Once we have that out of the way, let's talk about the actual 3 things. The number 1 most important thing is controlling your calories so that they fit what your body needs. Of course, you've probably heard a million times from all the fad diets, calories don't matter, just cut your carbs. This is carnivore and keto zealots. Calories don't matter, just cut your fats. This is vegans out. Calories don't matter, just starve yourself for 16 hours a day. This is the fasting zealots. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is controlling your calories. So you have to know how many calories should you be eating, number 1. Number 2, what are the macros within that? How many grams of actual protein, fats, and carbs you should eat? Those are the 2 things you should identify when it comes to calories. If you want a video on how to do that, click here. I'm literally leading you through that process on how to figure out how much you should eat. So that's the first step. The most important one is controlling your calories. You need to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. One thing that I see a lot of people struggle with and just do wrong is they set their calories. Let's say you have 50 pounds to lose or 30 pounds to lose, whatever it is, and you set your calories and you're like, okay, this is how many calories I need to eat until I get shredded. I wish it was that simple. It's not. You need to adjust the calories. What I do normally with my clients is every 10 pounds, sometimes even less, of body fat lost, I redo the macros for them completely from scratch. I imagine, so let's say you have 50 pounds to lose, you lost 10 pounds, now you have 40 pounds to lose. I would imagine that I just met you and I'm redoing all of your calories completely from scratch. So another hour and a half to customize all of this for you. That's how we get, so you basically need to be eating less and less and less, meaning creating that bigger, maintaining that deficit as you're losing weight in order to get completely shredded. Because if you just stay at the same number of calories that you used to lose the first 10 pounds, the body's just going to stay there. Be like, hey, this is great, but I'm going to be here. I'm not in deficit anymore. Why? Because you now weigh less. Therefore, you burn fewer calories than you did before. Now, your metabolic rate slows down a little bit. It always has from dieting, and your output of calories is lower, etc., etc. So you continually have to be adjusting the calories to what your body actually needs now in order to get there. And this is going to happen several times at several levels. So you have to be controlling, adjusting, readjusting the calories and again to keep yourself at calorie deficit. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is, you've probably heard about the 80-20 rule, which is basically known as the rule of The major few win over trivial many. So 20% of the things you do cause 80% of your results, and vice versa. Vast majority of things we do, like 80 to 90%, sometimes this rule is 90-10, sometimes it's 95-5, etc., etc. But basically, majority of the things we do create minority of results, and vice versa. Very few things that we do create majority of the results. So let me give you an example of application of this rule in weight loss. If we said there are 10 things we can do, of course there's 10,000, but let's say there's 10 things we can do to lose weight. And 80-20 means 2 of these are going to cause majority of results, like 80% of the results. What are the 2? Number 1, control your calories to be in a calorie deficit. That's number 1. And then 2, have enough protein. That's it. Just do these 2 things. You're going to get vast majority of your weight loss results the way you want them to. I would like to adjust this rule, and for my clients I always call this the 90-10 rule, which is specifically for nutrition, which is key to getting lean. As you already know, exercise, cardio makes you cardiovascularly healthy and helps you live long. Resistance training builds muscle and helps you look good and feel good and live long. So exercise basically is for health, longevity, and looks, not for weight loss, because it burns very few calories. Dieting is how you actually lose body fat. So you can lose all the body fat you want, even get very, very, very lean without any exercise at all. I've actually done that with many of my clients who just say, hey, it's so great, I get it, I just don't have time, which is not true, or I just don't want to exercise, which in that case, okay, I got them really, really, really lean. I got this client right here who never did a minute of exercise ever, Indian by the way, which means, as you probably know, Indian food is very, very, very high in carbs. So I adjusted his diet, he lost like 35 or 40 pounds without a minute of exercise. Now again, that's not what I suggest. I just kept saying, please, I want you to do 2 30-minute workouts per week in your house. You don't have to have any weights, nothing, just body weight stuff. Initially he wouldn't, finally he gave in and now he's exercising. But this weight loss was 100% diet, no exercise whatsoever. And this was during COVID when they couldn't leave the house at all, so he couldn't do any steps either. So no activity, basically just diet. He lost, I think, 35 or 40 pounds. Let's talk about the 90-10 rule when it comes to nutrition. 90% of everything you eat should be healthy, leaner protein, vegetables, and fruit type of meals. 10% of what you eat can be pretty much anything you want. I don't care what it is. It can be junk food, it can be pizza, ice cream, candy, burgers. I don't care, whatever it is, it can be whatever you want. For your health, it's also not going to do anything bad. 10% of all your food, it's not going to affect your health negatively in any way. And it's actually going to keep you sane because you can actually enjoy anything that you want. So let's say you said, hey, I really, really like, fries or burgers or pizza, or it doesn't matter what it is, you can have that 10% of your food. So you can look at this as, if you have 3 meals a day, that's like, let's say roughly 20 meals per week. 2 out of these 20 meals, which is 10%, can be anything you want. Even if you had 2 to 4 meals, so 10 to 20% of all your meals be anything you want, it would still work. I just prefer for your health overall. For your weight loss, it doesn't matter. If you control the calories, and please remember, these 10% of your meals, when you are eating whatever you want, you're still controlling the calories, because rule number 1 always stands. There's no exceptions to that. You can never, ever, ever say, I'm doing this and eating whatever I want and I don't care about calories, and expect great results. You always have to care about calories. You always have to track them in and account for them. So that never changes. That stays constant forever, okay, as long as you want to stay in shape. 90% of your meals, so let's say if you have 20 meals, anywhere, let's say 80 to 90%, 16 to 18 of these meals should be based off of lean and maybe even some fattier protein. So either leaner protein should be 2 out of 3 of your meals per day. So leaner protein such as chicken breast, turkey breast, leaner red meat, all the white fish, cod, tilapia, egg whites, pretty much all of the leaner sources. You can also have 1 out of 3 meals can be the fattier source of protein, such as beef, steak, eggs, dairy. It can be fattier fish like salmon or sardines. The only difference between them is they have the same amount of protein, but they have a lot more calories with the fatty ones simply because of the fat content in them, and fat is very caloric. So 2 out of 3 meals per day should be lean protein, 1 out of 3 meals per day should be fattier protein. Add a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit, things that are very voluminous, that keep you satiated, have fiber, and have low calories. Vegetables as a food group being the #1 king in that category of very satiating weight loss foods, basically, that help you stay in the calorie deficit and lose weight. So this is the 90-10 rule. 90% of your foods should be that, leaner proteins with a lot of vegetables and fruit, and 10% can be pretty much anything you want. If you do this, it's going to allow you to basically stay on this diet for as long as you need to, simply because 10% of the weekly meals allows you to eat anything you want. It doesn't matter, no restrictions whatsoever. It can be whatever you want, even 2 to 4 out of 20 meals if you're eating 3 times a day. Again, just 10-20%. If you're eating 2 meals a day, do the math on that. If you're eating 4 meals a day, do the math on that, right? But 10 to 20% of your meals, ideally 10 for health reasons, can be pretty much anything you want. And finally, step number 3, the most important step of all of these is you have to be patient. Getting to that shredded, lean look that pretty much everybody desires, but very, very few people ever get to, is a longer game. You have to think longer term, remembering that you can lose about 1, maybe 1.5 pounds of body fat per week. Anything over that, you're not losing body fat. You're losing either body water, which almost always happens on low-carb diets such as carnivore and keto. They don't eat any carbs. Carbs retain water, so 1 gram of carbs retains 3 or 4 grams of water to itself, or milliliters of water. So therefore, if you have a low-carb diet for 3 days, the 4th day you can weigh 10 pounds less. 4 days from today you can weigh 10 pounds less. How? Just eat low-carb diet, your body flushes out water, it's just water, you didn't lose any actual body fat, okay? This is how the carnivore or keto zealots are like, oh, I lost 10 pounds in the last week. Yes, dummy, you did, but 9.5 or 10 of those are water. You didn't lose any body fat. When it comes to this rate of fat loss, please remember, 1 pound of body fat loss per week is exceptional. Most people do not get near that. If you're very overweight, have more than, let's say if you're a male, have more than 30% body fat, or if you're a woman, more than 35% body fat, maybe you can lose up to 1.5 pounds of body fat per week, which means, 4 to 6 pounds of actual body fat loss per month is exceptional. Anything over that, remember, you're losing water or muscle or just intestinal matter from your intestines, and none of those matter or actually negative. Being dehydrated, you just rehydrate, gain the weight back. Losing muscle is actually negative because now you have slower metabolism and then you burn fewer calories and your dieting is the norm. If you lose intestinal matter, still doesn't matter, like the stupid cleanses, the 3-day cleanse, I lost 12 pounds, you just flush out your intestines, the moment you start eating, comes back. So these don't do anything. Losing muscle, water, or intestinal matter doesn't matter. The only thing that matters, losing body fat, and this is 1 to 1.5 pounds per week. So please remember, if you have 20-30 pounds to lose, it's going to take more than 20 to 30 weeks to do that. Now, of course, if you say that, what? I really thought I can have a great shredded body in a month. Well, if that's what you think, you're never going to have that until you change that mindset. Because remember, how many times so far have you tried to get to that body in a month or 2, and do you have it now? No, because everybody who got there, it took way longer than that. I've transformed over 1,200 clients so far. An average person takes 4 to 6 months to have huge visual change. Anywhere from 6 to 12 months to have a complete transformation where nobody can recognize you. Like you walk down the street and your really good friend walks by and doesn't even notice you because you look like a different person. That's at least 6 to 12 months for vast majority of people. So that's how you get 6-pack shredded and how you get 6-pack ripped. So if you want to know how I helped more than 1,200 of my clients so far get in phenomenal shape, click this video right here. It's A to Z process on how I got these people there and exactly how you can do the same. Click this video and I'll see you next time.